Okay, let's dive in. Welcome back to the deep dive. What we're seeing in our Acentrium AI report for October, well, it really feels like a defining moment for the continent. There's this clear pivot happening in the data we're tracking. Africa's moving, from being just a passive consumer of AI, getting technology handed down, to actually becoming a sovereign architect of its own digital future. It's a big shift.
It really is profound.
Yeah.
And for our community, look, this isn't just small steps. It's a strategic, highly coordinated effort we're observing. So our mission today is to brief you on what this shift means operationally. We need to get into the three new pillars driving this: change the strategy, the law, the fund, and then analyze the investment landscape, which is changing fast, sometimes harshly. And crucially, pinpoint the strategic conflict right at the heart of this that needs our immediate attention as we head towards 2026.
Right, the political coordination we saw just in October, it felt unprecedented. It all came together around this, well, sophisticated continental plan aiming for digital sovereignty. Let's start with that structure that's emerged, the three pillars that, give the AU's strategy some real teeth.
Okay, first up is the strategy itself. That's the existing African Union continental AI strategy. Think of it as the blueprint. It lays out what needs to happen, focusing on integration in key areas like health, agriculture, education. It's the vision document, essentially.
But a vision needs, well, funding and a way to actually implement it. And that's where the serious diplomatic work came in. Pillar 2, the G20 AI for Africa initiative.
Yes.
This was a huge win, secured under South Africa's G20 presidency. It's a formal, globally backed funding mechanism.
And this is critical because it directly links global financial muscle, with African development goals. We're talking partners like Germany's BMZ working with the AFDB, the World Bank. This mechanism provides the capital flow, the fuel, really, to make the AU strategy happen on the ground. It means the continent isn't just relying on, say, internal funding alone.
And crucially, there's now a fast track for the legal side, too. Pillar 3, the harmonized legal framework. The Pan-African Parliament, the PIP, announced it's exploring a model law on AI governance. This is a practical game changer policy-wise.
Yeah, to put a finer point on it, it's basically a legislative starter pack. Imagine trying to get 55 member states, all with different legal systems, different tech levels, to write AI laws from scratch. It's monumental. This model law gives them the baseline text. It lets national governments adopt essential AI laws much faster, cutting down time and costs significantly.
Our analysis points to this coordinated top-down action being driven by, well, real urgency. Without this unified push strategy, law, fund the academic work we reviewed this month, suggests developing nations could just get stuck, deepening their digital dependency.
Absolutely.
They'd basically be left out of shaping the rules for the future AI world.
Precisely. This whole mechanism is vital to make sure the continent is actively setting the rules for AI adoption, not just, waiting for rules made somewhere else like Brussels or Silicon Valley.
Okay, let's switch gears from policy design to where the money's actually flowing, because October really showed the immediate impact of this policy clarity. The funding rebound was strong.
Yeah, it was.
Our team tracked $392 million raised in October 2025 alone. That pushes the year-to-date total for the continent to $2.732 billion. And that number matters because it's already more than all the funding raised in the whole of 2024.
That recovery is definitely encouraging. But we need to look a bit closer at where that capital is going, because it reflects this tough global reality, something we started calling the AI bifurcation. Globally, VC money is concentrating very, very quickly. This hits every market, Africa included. PitchBook data showed VCs put a record $192.7 billion into AI startups in just the first 9 months of 2025.
Wow.
That's 53.2%, over half of all global VC funding.
So if capital is bunching up like that globally, how do we make sure this new G20 fund, which is great, isn't just a tiny drop compared to the, nearly $200 billion flooding into AI elsewhere?
That is the core tension, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you're not branded as an AI company now, you're fighting for less than half the available global VC money. So the immediate impact for the African market is stark. Startups outside that AI spotlight, they're facing, frankly, their toughest ever funding environment.
Yeah.
It creates this strategic pressure, pivot to AI, or risk getting left behind capital-wise.
We saw a prime example of this with Nigerian fintech MoneyPoint. They executed a, textbook strategic move responding to this pressure. They landed a massive $90 million mega round.
Right.
But at the same time, they very publicly launched an AI chatbot called M. It was a perfectly timed maneuver. That $90 million raise happened because the M launch signaled alignment with this global mandate. They're essentially saying, We're not just payments anymore. We're an AI company that also handles payments. That pivot is almost necessary now to attract those big global institutional investors who are being told AI or nothing.
And there's another big positive shift underpinning all this, something that's going to really boost this trend into 2026, the gray list dividend. The
Yes.
Financial Action Task Force, FATF, took both Nigeria and South Africa off its gray list in October. That removal might be the single biggest foundational economic development this month. Being gray listed, it's a massive hurdle for foreign institutional capital. Huge compliance costs, massive due diligence. Fund managers, especially big ones like pension funds, private equity, their mandates often just forbid investing in gray-listed countries. Full stop.
So, taking Africa's two largest economies off this list, it fundamentally de-risks them.
Exactly. It's like a global, all-clear signal, especially for those highly regulated institutional funds. It simplifies compliance, lowers perceived risk. It's going to accelerate the flow of that stable, long-term capital that was basically locked up before. This dividend is going to fuel the next big wave of AI investments, no doubt.
Okay, so let's connect that high-level policy and the capital flow back to how things are actually getting done on the ground.
Right.
Our report highlights two really distinct West African models for implementing their national strategies, almost opposites in a way. First, you've got Ghana's top-down model. They didn't just announce a national AI strategy and leave it as paper. They followed up with a new emerging technologies bill coming, and then right away held a ministerial boot camp with the UNDP.
The intent there is pretty clear, isn't it? It's state-led, focused on vertical alignment. Get the ministers, the senior officials, the ones holding the purse strings and making decisions, equipped to actually execute the strategy, integrate AI across government. The risk might be speed, but the advantage is coordination. Avoiding that policy just sits on the shelf, problem you see sometimes.
Now, contrast that with Nigeria's bottom-up model. It's, well, chaotic is maybe one word for it. It's a market-driven boom led almost entirely by the private sector. We mentioned MoneyPoint, but also logistics firms like Truckee using AI for managing haulage, ICE commercial power using it for clean energy solutions. They're all just doing it.
Right. Nigeria's model is fast, it's permissionless, fueled by market needs. The risk there is fragmentation, maybe lack of coherence, but the advantage is sheer speed and rapid iteration. The government is kind of watching the market and playing catch-up.
And then there's a third way, Senegal's human capital bet. This one's playing the long game.
Yes.
Their approach is all about long-term scalability. They've launched this huge nationwide program aiming to train 105,000 teachers and administrative staff in digital skills, including AI use.
This is really strategic infrastructure investment. Senegal's betting big on its demographic dividend. By training the trainers, you guarantee both supply and demand for digital skills right at the grassroots. They're positioning themselves not just to use AI, but maybe decades from now to truly produce it. It's a serious investment in sustainable human capital.
That focus on human capital links directly to how African innovators are tackling the core digital divide issue. They're using this low-tech, high-impact approach. Our analysis of the latest AU-IEA 2025 Innovator Cohort, it shows this really consistent pattern, building solutions on the one platform that's everywhere and uses little data. What's that?
That's a crucial design choice, absolutely. It bypasses the whole need for expensive broadband or fancy new digital infrastructure. And we're seeing solutions that tackle problems for both students and teachers really efficiently. Take Snaplify's Book Buddy. It's an AI tutor on WhatsApp.
Right.
It offers multilingual support. A student can ask a question in isiZulu or Kiswahili, even if the textbook's in English. And it uses minimal data. That's huge.
And then for the educators, there's Ngaza Ilimu's Kalamu. It's a teacher-focused bot really designed to fight burnout by tackling the admin burden.
Its impact is genuinely extraordinary. Kalamu helps with lesson planning, creates tailored assessments automatically, generates notes, and we're seeing measured results. Teachers saving between 15 to 25% of their time. That frees them up for actual teaching, for deeper student interaction, instead of drowning in paperwork. That's not just efficiency. It's a human resource win.
But, and this is important, this amazing progress happening at the micro level, these WhatsApp solutions, it kind of hides a fundamental structural tension, something we really need to focus on strategically. The edutech examples really highlight what we're calling the core strategic conflict in the October data,
Right.
the sovereignty paradox.
We need to be really clear about this paradox for our community. The big political goal, backed by the G20 fund, the model law, it's clearly digital sovereignty, Africa writing its own rules. But the practical reality, how innovation is happening right now, shows a deep functional dependency. It's like,
Yeah.
we want to write our own AI future, but currently we're all borrowing Meta's pen to do it.
Because these innovators like Kalamu, BookBuddy,
Yeah.
they're being celebrated by the AU for local impact, which is great, but they're explicitly building their solutions on foreign foundational models, specifically Meta's Llama, OpenAI's GPT.
Exactly.
They're using infrastructure they don't own or control.
Precisely. And the direct symptom of this dependency, it's the constant complaint about a lack of localized content for these big foreign models to train on. So when you try to get nuanced answers for specific local contexts, local regulations, you hit problems like AI hallucination. The model just doesn't have the deep contextual data.
So if the whole tech stack from the foundational AI models themselves, right down to the hardware, the NVIDIA GPUs often accessed through partnerships like Microsoft's Founders Hub, if all that is imported,
You can't have true sovereign AI.
we might control the policy levers, but not the actual technological pipeline.
And resolving this strategic conflict, well, it needs massive, sustained investment. We have to shift focus, shift capital towards supporting local data sets, homegrown foundational models. We saw a good example with that $12.5 million Series A for Intel's Arabic language models. That's the kind of strategic investment needed for real independence, turning policy ambition into tech reality.
So pulling it all together, what does this mean for our community looking forward? October showed these two huge forces converging. You've got the massive top-down policy structure, G20 fund, AU strategy, and then this powerful bottom-up market pressure from the AI bifurcation.
And that confluence, that intersection, defines a massive opportunity. The strategic play here isn't just AI for AI's sake. It's using AI as a precision tool, a tool to unlock Africa's demographic dividend by tackling specific structural bottlenecks. We need to channel capital into targeted solutions. AI for education, like the Senegal training model shows us. AI for inclusion, which is what MoneyPoint is moving towards with its data as a service potential. And AI for agritech, using AI to optimize farming, logistics, core sectors. That's where the real measurable value is.
Which brings us to our final thought for you to consider as we wrap up this deep dive. October made it clear the global regulatory landscape is splitting.
Diverging.
On one side, you have the EU, really prioritizing safety, mandating reporting for AI incidents under their AI Act. On the other track, the U.S. is all about speed, aggressively removing regulatory hurdles to spur innovation.
So the question for us is, how will Africa's emerging dual-track approach play out? Harmonizing with global standards, you see partnerships with ECOWAS, the OECD, while also preserving local governance through things like the PAPI model law. Can this approach allow the continent to actually capture the benefits of global innovation without sacrificing sovereign values or, importantly, its unique needs for equitable growth?
It's a critical balancing act, and one we'll definitely be tracking closely in our next report. Until then, keep digging.